Instagram, hello Facebook, hello YouTube. It's Lucia. This is my second in the Behind the Brava installment. I got a lot of good feedback, so I'm doing another one. And this is about the idea of becoming who I don't want to be. So when I was a little girl, I was very fortunate to be raised by a women's leadership coach. My mother started the business the year I was born. So I don't know if it was a response to motherhood, but she decided that she was going to start the business Moynihan and Associates. It was called then, now Next Level Leadership, which I still work for. And so she was at a conference for women leaders, and I got to see the gods, Gloria Steinem, Eve Ensler, and I'm this 12-year-old girl, Jane Fonda. And I wander off at some point to a presentation by Debbie Ford on what was called The Shadow. And I was about 12 years old. And she explains in a metaphor that was actually perfect for a 12-year-old what shadow is. And she said that when we have parts of ourselves that we're trying to repress, it's like we are holding a beach ball underwater. And if we struggle to hold it down, it's just going to keep popping up. So minutes later, I'm in a deep guided meditation. And I'm actually encountering one of my shadows. And this is a little girl standing in my kitchen, covered in chocolate cake and just needy and wanting my approval. And at that time I was already dieting, and I was terrified of seeming needy because I knew in our middle school that was the worst thing you could be, was the girl who was asking to sit at the table. So that was a very formative experience for me to realize and recognize that the things I hate in other people are pings for things I have neglected, rejected in myself. And from that moment forward, I knew and I understood on a deep level that I need to express. I always need to express. And now there isn't always safe ways to express, right? Especially if you are a Scorpio and you've got some fire in you. So give me some likes if you resonate with that. I used to go to the edge of my lawn and just scream towards the neighbors, and I would still get in trouble for screaming. So I had a lot to work with, and I think a lot of us do. And in terms of like those negative feelings that pop up, and how do we manage that? So I found acting and improv, and it was like, a lot of people find the stage so scary. And for me, it was my safe place, because you can be bad, you can be wrong, you can do exactly the thing that you're not supposed to do when you're on stage. And that evolved into, off the stage, I created an alter ego in middle school called Lucinda, and she would just speak in a monotone and be really down on everything. Until my mom kind of caught on and was like, "You're just using this to be a bitch to everyone. You need to stop." Hey, Keaton, we're talking about shadow work. Can you believe it? So I had already developed this sort of way of coping with the world, which was like creating a character or playing it out in an improv scene. And then about 4 years ago, when the Tony Robbins documentary came out, I was working as a coach, a leadership and a creative coach, which I still do that work. And I was watching this documentary and thinking, here is like a lot of things I try not to be. Like, here's a man who is making a million assumptions. I feel like the secret sauce that was revealed in the documentary. No, first of all, caveat, I've never gone to a Tony Robbins event. I know he's been super amazing at transforming so many lives, and he does a lot of good work. So this is not a negative on him. It's just a reflection of what my judgments were about myself. So I never wanted to seem arrogant, like I knew people better than they knew themselves. And I felt like the crux of his work that was showcased in the documentary was the whole thing predicated on people's belief in him and his belief in himself. And I found that pretty arrogant. So I decided to embody that and make a character that was so arrogant that she could watch the Tony Robbins episode, Netflix special, and then just go take all those skills and change everyone's lives, make people break up with each other. So that was the beginning of Talia Brava. I had that live show. The character was birthed. And then she took me through a very intense breakup and feeling like I was having a spiritual awakening sigh. So all the processes, all the judgment that was coming up for me in the past 4 or 5 years, I've been able to channel into Talia Brava and literally be the monster that I never want to be. That includes a lot of the fears that we have as artists. Am I a total narcissist? Am I obsessed with myself? Look at me, I'm videotaping myself in the middle of the day on a Wednesday. How disgusting. So whenever I feel those self-judgment judgmental thoughts, or when I have a thought that I'm really like, you know what, bitch, you have no place behaving that way or operating like that in the world. It's not kind, it's not good. I can channel it into something. So for me, Talia Brava has been an exercise in not repressing. And what I've learned, some of the things I've learned, one of them is that belief, right? So Talia Brava has become a thing for me where I have a God that I can say, I believe in Brava, and I can go do crazy shit. And it's been an experiment. And does that work? Will that work for me like it works for Tony Robbins on different levels? So yes, like I can do things as Talia that I can't do as Lucia. And so when I work with people in a coaching environment, I encourage them to find out what it is that they hate, what it is that they're repressing, what it is that they're ashamed of. And then maybe there is a persona or like a time of day, an assignment you can give to a character that is one of the masks that you can wear in the world. So if you're interested in this is like a big part of what I'm passionate about as a coach. Sign up for a creative coaching session and we can create an alter ego for you. And then just one note on where Talia is headed towards now. You'll see like I'm getting or she's getting really into sexuality, right? And like me, Lucia, I am super monogamous, super vanilla, like nothing super exciting is happening here, spoiler alert. But Talia is crashing through doors that I have been afraid to crash through. And at times recklessly. So I did get trained. I'm now a trained dominatrix. Here's my coming out party as Talia Brava, ready to take sessions under the lineage of Mistress Damiani Chi and Damiana Chi. And I should say I did that. I took that training because everything I had done up until this point as Talia had been Talia satirizing what Lucia actually does. And then I got to the point where Talia was moving faster than Lucia and getting into territory that I didn't understand. So now I'm understanding, I'm learning, I'm a student of BDSM and this whole world, and it's amazing and fascinating, and I'm finding very therapeutic and healing. So I'm super excited to see where we go together as a cult community. You know, I know Talia doesn't want me along for the ride, but I certainly am. I'm a proud spectator. And yeah, so that's all I wanted to share today. But if you have any more questions about what's happening with Brava and what's happening here and what's happening between us, leave me a message because I will include that in the next Behind the Brava episode. All right, everybody. Enjoy your Wednesdays. No shame, no repression. Find a way to express it, even if it's singing in the car, even if it's making like a really mean picture of somebody, like drawing it really ugly and then stabbing it out and then putting it in a shower and flushing it down the drain so no one knows. Do it. Express, don't repress. Art is here for us. Bye. Bye, Instagram. Have great days.